At any rate, look, thank you for doing this. And I'll start with, are you ready? I mean, you're the sixth county executive I've covered, and I know a lot of people get elected and then it's like, wow, I've been elected, I've got this job. Are you ready? Are you apprehensive? What are you feeling?
No, I'm ready. I'm ready. You know, I've been in this county for so long and I've been in government for many years. So I understand how the county executive's office works. I understand my duties and responsibilities, and I'm ready to take charge.
It's a different job than being state's attorney, right? I mean, it's very
Yes.
different. You've got everything now.
Yeah, yeah. But, you know, I have worked with several different county agencies throughout my career. I started off working in the county executive's office, and I was the liaison to the county council. So I understand the relationship between the executive and the legislative branch. Part of my job back then was to carry all pieces of legislation before the council. So I had to understand how agencies worked, what their priorities were, and really push the agenda of the administration through our legislative branch. So I am very familiar with all of the agencies of government, and as state's attorney, I've interacted with all of these agencies as well, you know, in one way or another. So I'm pretty familiar with the government and ready to take over.
Taking over at an interesting time, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we've got all the challenges of the federal job losses, probably not going to get the FBI.
Maybe not right
maybe
now.
We'll get to that, but probably
Okay.
not going to have the football team. You know, what do you see as your number one challenge for this community?
I think the number one challenge is to instill hope and bring opportunity for the people of this county. I think, you know, what they have seen is a divided government, and that's why I've worked really hard to unify government. I think what they have seen is that their needs have not been prioritized, and that's why their needs will be prioritized under my leadership. I think county government has not necessarily come back the way that maybe my agency came back after COVID. So we had a telework policy that gave people an opportunity to be home one day a week and work from home, but they were primarily in the office. I think various county government agencies have different telework policies, and I think that's led to morale issues, and I think, quite frankly, some work product deficiencies.
Are you going to bring people back into the office full time?
People are going to have to come back into the office. We will perhaps have, and I don't want to necessarily tie myself to, you know, one idea of what a telework policy might look like, but definitely at minimum one day a week option for those who can telework. But I want people to be oriented to the office. Coming into the office, having a job is critically important, right? Because that's what makes, you know, our economy work. People who are employed, but we need people who are employed to actually be providing a service that those who are, you know, paying taxes can see. And so if they have to go to work, the folks who work for the county government have to come to work too. And so I think it's really important that we have one policy that works for all agencies and that people are oriented to be in the office delivering services to the people of Prince George's County.
Finances, it's a challenge, right? The budget's balanced, but it may get worse. The Moody's is downgraded. How are you going to handle those fiscal challenges? It's a deficit is projected to grow. The blueprint is going to be a challenge.
Well, let me just
What are
say
you gonna
this.
do?
I mean, Moody's downgraded the U.S. Treasury, right, and the state. But the other two bond rating agencies kept Prince George's County at a AAA. So I think Prince George's County is a strong county, but we can do better. And I think focusing on bringing more commercial development to the county is where we need to start. And then eliminating those barriers to businesses opening, which I've heard so much about during my tenure as state's attorney as well as on the campaign trail. I think the number one issue I get from the business community is that things move too slow. And so some businesses decide not to even bother trying to open in Prince George's County because it's going to take them too long. Some go bankrupt trying to open in the county, and others are just frustrated during the process. When a business is not open, they're not generating money, so they're not contributing to our tax base. So focusing on fixing our permitting process, our zoning process, which is something that I'm doing now through the transition team, that's something that we're going to implement right away because we need a streamlined business process so that businesses have some predictability when it comes to operating in the county.
I've talked to businesses. There's a reluctance to invest in this county. You're aware of it.
I am.
And big money is reluctant to come here for big projects for a variety of reasons. Dissatisfaction with some of the things the council's done.
Yeah.
Yeah. Rent control, that sort of thing. What are you going to do about that?
So, look, I've had numerous conversations with the council. I believe that our council chair, Ed Burrows, and myself, that we are on the same page moving forward. I think he understands that some changes have to be made. In fact, he's a part of the transition process, so he is hearing directly from those impacted businesses and investors. So I think what you'll see coming in is an opportunity for us to kind of reset some of that legislation and really focus on protecting certainly our residents and their interests, but also making it more attractive to invest in Prince George's County.
Do you think you can get the Blue Line corridor going? It's not.
Absolutely.
The only thing is this park out front.
Yes. I think that the whole point of the Blue Line corridor funding from the Maryland Stadium Authority was to really spur economic development in an area that has been underinvested in, right? And so I am absolutely ready and committed to working with our state delegation as well as those council members who represent that area to look at opportunities to bring more commercial development to those areas. So yes, I mean, the Blue Line corridor is important to us. Number one, it's a transit, it will bring transit-oriented development, which is something that Prince George's County has been trying to do for decades. So now finally we have the funding. We have to smartly spend that money so that we are able to bring more restaurants, retail, and other commercial activity to that corridor.
So the commanders, there's some debate now down if DC fumbles, are you ready?
We'll be ready.
Are you ready to make a play now?
Oh yes, and look, I have met.
I mean, are you going to try to do something aggressively now until they finalize?
So let me just say this: I have been working with the governor. The governor put forward, I think, a really smart proposal to the commanders. They decided to pursue a deal with DC. We're still open, so I'm in communication with their representatives. I've let them know that we are very interested in them staying here in Prince George's County, and that we will work. Like, we are all in agreement, whereas in DC, there's disagreement. We're all aligned here. The executive, myself, obviously, the council, our governor, our state delegation, we are all committed to keeping the commanders here. But ultimately, it is their decision. But whatever happens, we're going to be working with the commanders' leadership team because they own the land that the stadium sits on. It's 200 acres, and so there's an opportunity for us to do some joint development there that will really help our county grow our economy. So whether the stadium is there or not, we're going to be working very closely with the commanders' team.
But will you sort of put a refreshed package together and say, hey, we're still here? I mean, are you? Because it's not finalized.
It is not finalized now. The governor actually put forward the package because, remember, the governor's team sort of led those negotiations. What I will say is that I have been consistent in my support for the commanders to stay here. I am not yet county executive, right? So I can't obligate the county until, I get sworn in. But what I will say is that I'll be very aggressive in continuing to push for the commanders to remain here in Prince George's County.
Okay. All right, let's run through some of these other things. So yesterday I reported that the teachers union, and it was apparently a very small number of teachers, voted no confidence for Millard House. and the board is going to do something tonight. And what I've been told is that they're going to remove him. Are you behind that? Are you involved in an effort to make it possible for you to appoint a new superintendent?
Look, this is between the school board and the superintendent. Clearly, there were issues with the teachers. They have this long, protracted negotiation process that they've been going through. So I'm not 100% sure what all of the breakdowns are between the teachers and Mr. House. But the board, they are independently elected, and they have their own experiences with Mr. House. And so if that leads to them wanting to separate with him, then I'll be ready to appoint someone new. If they don't decide to do that, then I'm ready to work with the superintendent. The superintendent and I have worked together on issues like truancy. Now, obviously, in my new role, I'd be looking more at student achievement and other issues around our school. But, you know, that's their decision, and I'll accept whatever decision they make.
The police chief yesterday surfaced in the desert. Yeah, so, I mean, we all knew he was looking around. Clearly, he's a finalist in Phoenix, which means he's moving on. Have you made any decisions about that agency, whether he gets this job or not?
So if the chief is no longer here, I certainly will be ready to appoint a new chief. And I think what I will say to the department, for the men and women who work in the department, is that I see them. I know how hard they work. I believe in our department. I believe in the training that the officers have received in Prince George's County, and I believe very strongly that if I am in a position to elect or select a new chief, that chief will be someone who's come up through the ranks of this department in Prince George's County.
Okay. If he doesn't get this job, will you be making a change?
What I will say is that, you know, I'll make a decision when I'm able to make a decision. So right now, I'm still exec-elect. I'm still going through the process of really interviewing candidates for various positions in county government, and I'll make that decision when it's the appropriate time.
Okay. What will be different about the administration of Ms. Braveboy versus Ms. Alsobrooks?
Well, I don't want to compare. I mean, we're different people, so I think we just have different styles. What I will say is that my administration will be very data oriented. We will hold our agencies accountable for performance. I think that's something that's really important because we spend a lot of money on our agencies, and they have to actually function as agencies of government, helping us to achieve a goal. And so whether it's human resources, DPI, public works, the environment, housing, those services that are being provided by these agencies have to be understood by the residents so that when people are calling these agencies, they get a response and they get the service that they need. So I think my administration will be very accountable to the people of Prince George's County.
All right, couple taxes, right? Everybody's concerned. That's always the big question. You've got budget issues. What's your feeling about the possibility of raising taxes in this community?
So property taxes is completely off the table. I think that it would actually defeat our whole, I think, goal of growing our economy, because I think people will leave. If we're asking them to pay more in property taxes, people will opt to go other places. We've seen that already. And so my goal is to stay away from asking our property tax owners to pay more and really focusing on that commercial tax base, bringing in more money.
Okay. Open mic. You're not a candidate anymore.
No.
You're going to be the county executive.
Yes.
What should the people know about what you're going to do? I mean, you're going to be a candidate again immediately.
I'll be a candidate almost immediately,
Yeah.
But I'll be focused on the job that I have before me. So the first thing I really want to do is clean up the county. I want to make our roadways as beautiful as the people who live in this county. So I'm going to focus on trash and litter removal, as well as trimming the trees and the hedges and the medians and all of that stuff that makes our county look good, because I want people to feel good about where they live. I'm also going to really work more closely with our municipalities, specifically in the area of public safety. I think we've done a good job of bringing crime down, but we can bring it down even more if we work more collaboratively with our municipal partners. And they are true partners. They're not necessarily wearing the same badge as PGPD, but they have taken a similar oath to protect and serve this community. And many of those agencies are border communities, like Mount Rainier and Capitol Heights and Seat Pleasant, where we know a disproportionate amount of our crime typically occurs. So if we can work more closely with them, bring them into our strategies, I think we'll see a greater reduction in crime. So I'm very focused on working with our municipalities and then really unifying the county. I think what you'll see going forward is a unified executive branch, legislative branch, our entire delegation, as well as our school board. We're going to all be on the same page. And I think that's something that unfortunately we haven't seen in a while here in Prince George's County, something that I'm absolutely committed to. And I think that will produce better results. Plus, we have the support of the governor, which is really helpful, and he's committed to continuing to invest in Prince George's County.
Thank you very, very much.
Thank you.
Yeah. And he's coming next week.